I said nothing, just walked past the crowd of well-dressed donors, past the champagne fountain, past my daughter's fake smile, and lifted the camera off the velvet display table. "Dad, what are you doing?" Jennifer's voice cut through the ballroom chatter. "Security." I kept walking. The Leica felt heavier than I remembered. Or maybe it was just the weight of knowing what my wife Sarah had left inside it for our granddaughter Sophia, a gift Jennifer had no right to sell. "That's theft! Someone stop him!" I turned at the doorway. Kyle, my son-in-law, was already halfway across the room, his face red, his expensive suit straining at the buttons. Behind him, Jennifer stood on the stage beside the auctioneer, her hand pressed to her chest like I'd just committed murder instead of taking back what belonged to my family. "This camera," I said quietly, "belonged to my wife. It was meant for Sophia, and we're donating it to the hospital foundation." Jennifer's voice trembled with manufactured outrage. "The hospital where Mom spent her final days. Don't you want to honor her memory?" The crowd murmured. I could see it in their eyes. They thought I was the selfish one, the old man standing between charity and a dying child somewhere. "Your mother," I said, my voice steady, "wanted Sophia to have this. I'm taking it home." I left before security could reach me. Let them think what they wanted. 3 years ago, when Sarah died, she made me promise one thing. Just one. "Let Sophia see the world through my lens," she'd whispered, her hand trembling as she touched the old Leica on her bedside table. "Don't let Jennifer throw it away like she threw away everything else I loved." I should have known then. Should have seen the signs. But grief makes you blind. Sarah had been a photographer. Not famous, not rich, just passionate. She'd spent 40 years capturing Arizona landscapes, teaching photography at the community college, entering small competitions she never won. Jennifer had always called it a waste of time. "Mom could have been making real money instead of chasing sunsets," she'd say. After the funeral, Jennifer wanted to donate everything. Sarah's cameras, her darkroom equipment, boxes of old film, prints she'd spent years perfecting. "Dad, you need to move on. This clutter isn't healthy." I'd saved one thing. The Leica, Sarah's favorite. The camera she'd used on our honeymoon, on the day Jennifer was born, on every important moment of our 43 years together. I'd given it to Sophia for her 9th birthday, 6 months ago. My granddaughter had her grandmother's eye. She'd look through that viewfinder and see things I couldn't. Light on water, shadows on walls. The way her teacher's face changed when she smiled. Sophia had filled 3 albums already. Then, 2 weeks ago, Jennifer came to visit. "Dad, we need to talk about Sophia's activities." She'd sat in Sarah's chair, the one by the window where my wife used to read. Jennifer looked different, thinner, dark circles under her eyes despite the makeup. "What activities? This photography nonsense. She spends hours with that old camera instead of studying. Her grades are slipping. We're enrolling her in a math tutor program instead." "Sophia's grades are fine," I'd said. I checked her last report card. All A's except 1 B in PE. Jennifer's jaw tightened. "The camera is a distraction. We're selling it." "You can't." I gave it to Sophia. "It's hers. She's 9, Dad. She doesn't own anything. Kyle and I are her parents. We'll decide what's best." That's when I should have fought harder. But I'm 68 years old, and I've learned that sometimes you have to wait for the right moment. So I'd nodded and watched her leave, and then I'd called Sophia that night. "Grandpa," she'd whispered into the phone. "Mom took Grandma's camera. She says I can have it back after I finish the math program. But the program is all summer long. I'll handle it, sweetheart." She said she might sell it if I don't improve my attitude. My hands had clenched around the phone. "She won't sell it, I promise." But Jennifer did exactly that. Not to a pawn shop or a camera store. No, that would have been too simple. She donated it to the hospital foundation's annual charity gala, made a whole speech about it. My mother, Sarah Henderson, was a photographer who believed in capturing beauty in everyday moments. Tonight, I'm donating her most treasured camera to honor her memory and support the pediatric cancer wing where she received such wonderful care. Let's start the bidding at $500. I'd been in the audience. Jennifer hadn't even told me she'd be there. I'd only found out because Sophia had called me, crying, after overhearing her parents talking about it. The crowd had applauded. Jennifer had smiled, that practice smile she used at work, the one that never reached her eyes. Kyle had stood beside her, nodding like some proud husband supporting his charitable wife. I'd watched 3 people bid, watched the price climb to $1,500, watched Jennifer's smile get wider. Then I'd walked up to that stage and taken the camera. Now, driving home with the Leica on the passenger seat, I called the only person I knew who understood cameras. Martin, it's Bill Henderson. I need you to look at something. Martin Chen had been Sarah's colleague at the community college. He'd taught photography there for 30 years before retiring. More importantly, he was one of the few people who'd understood what Sarah's work meant. Bill? What's wrong? You sound stressed. I need you to examine Sarah's Leica. Tonight, if possible. The one you gave to Sophia? Yes. Can you come to my house? There was a pause. What's going on? I'll explain when you get here. Martin arrived 40 minutes later. He was 72, silver-haired, still sharp-eyed despite his age. He took the camera from my hands like it was made of glass. Jennifer tried to auction this? He shook his head. Sarah would have been heartbroken. Can you check if there's any damage? They had it on display all evening. Martin carried it to my kitchen table, turned on the overhead light, and began examining every inch. He opened the back, checked the film compartment, tested the shutter, looked through the viewfinder. Then he stopped. Bill, he said quietly, did Sarah ever mention what she kept in the film compartment? No. Why? He turned the camera toward me. There was a small latch I'd never noticed, hidden behind the film loading mechanism. Martin pressed it, and a tiny drawer slid open. Inside was a folded piece of archival paper. Martin unfolded it carefully. His hands started shaking. Bill, do you know what this is? I looked at the black and white photograph. A landscape, mountains, dramatic sky, incredible detail and composition. Beautiful, but I didn't understand why Martin looked like he'd seen a ghost. It's a print, I said. It's an original Ansel Adams. Signed. Look at the bottom corner. I grabbed my reading glasses. There it was. Small, precise signature. Ansel Adams, 1974. That's impossible, I said. Sarah never mentioned. How would she have gotten this? Martin was turning the print over, examining every detail. These are worth, Bill, depending on the print and condition, this could be anywhere from $500,000 to over $1 million. The room tilted slightly. I sat down. There's more, Martin said. He was looking into the camera again, using a small flashlight. There are 3 rolls of undeveloped film in here, protected in archival cases. And a note. He pulled out a tiny piece of paper, folded so small I'm surprised he found it. The handwriting was Sarah's. I'd know it anywhere. For Sophia, I read aloud. May you capture beauty others cannot see. Never let them tell you art has no value. All my love, Grandma Sarah. P.S. The 3 rolls are from my Arizona collection, 1985 to 1987. Martin will know what to do with them. Martin's face had gone pale. The Arizona collection. Bill. Sarah entered those photos in a national competition in 1988. She was a finalist. The judges said if she'd had better prints, clearer images from the original negatives, she would have won. She always said she'd lost the negatives in a move. She didn't lose them, I said slowly. She saved them. For Sophia, if these are what I think they are. Martin sat down across from me. If these are Sarah's original negatives from that series, properly developed with modern techniques, they could be worth significant money. Not Ansel Adams' money, but enough to fund Sophia's entire education. Maybe more. Sarah had an incredible eye, Bill. She just never had the resources to do justice to her own work. I looked at the camera, at the Ansel Adams print, at the tiny note in my wife's handwriting. Sarah had known. She'd known that Jennifer would never value art, never understand that some things matter more than money. So she'd hidden something valuable where Jennifer would never think to look. Inside the junk camera she'd spent her life using. "I need to make some calls," Martin said. "I know a gallery owner in Scottsdale, and we should get this authenticated by an expert. The Ansel Adams alone is—" "No," I said. Martin looked at me. "No? Not yet. First, I need to understand something." I pulled out my phone and called Jennifer. She answered on the first ring. "Dad, that was completely unacceptable. You embarrassed me in front of the entire hospital foundation board. Kyle wants to press charges for theft." "Jennifer," I said quietly, "why did you really sell the camera?" Silence. "It was for charity," she said finally. Her voice sounded different now. Tired. "How much do you owe, sweetheart?" Another long silence. "I don't know what you're talking about. How much?" "Dad." "Jennifer, I'm your father. How much?" I heard her breath catch. Then, quietly, "Kyle's business failed. The real estate market collapsed and he'd leveraged everything. We're $2 million in debt. The house is in foreclosure. We have 90 days before we lose everything." My heart sank. "Why didn't you tell me? What could you do? You're on a fixed income. We didn't want to burden you." Her voice cracked. "The charity gala was Kyle's idea. He said if we looked like we were donating valuable items, it would improve his image, make investors trust him again. And maybe the camera would sell for enough to make a dent in what we owe. So you stole from your daughter." "I was going to buy it back." Jennifer's voice rose. "After Kyle rebuilds his business, I was going to get Sophia a new camera, a better one. That's not what your mother wanted. Mom's dead, Dad. She doesn't get a vote anymore." I closed my eyes. Grief makes people cruel. I knew that. But this was different. "Your mother," I said carefully, "left something for Sophia. Inside the camera. Did you ever look?" "What?" "No. It's just an old camera. What could possibly—" "Come to my house tomorrow morning. 9 a.m. Bring Kyle. We need to talk." "Dad, I don't have time for 9 a.m. Jennifer. If you love your daughter, you'll be here." I hung up. Martin was watching me. "What are you going to do?" "I'm going to show them what they almost sold." But the next morning, Jennifer didn't come at 9. She came at 8. And she brought more than just Kyle. She brought a lawyer. "Mr. Henderson," the lawyer said, setting his briefcase on my coffee table. "I'm Robert Vaughn, representing Jennifer and Kyle Morrison. We're here to discuss your recent cognitive decline and the necessity of establishing a conservatorship for your protection." I stared at Jennifer. She wouldn't meet my eyes. "Cognitive decline?" I said. "Dad," Jennifer said quietly, "you stole from a charity auction in front of 200 people. That's not normal behavior. We're worried about you." Kyle nodded, his arms crossed. "The camera belongs to our family. Jennifer's the rightful heir to her mother's belongings. Your theft indicates you may not be capable of making sound decisions anymore." "I see." I looked at Martin, who'd stayed the night to help develop the film. He was standing in the doorway to the kitchen, his face grim. "And this conservatorship would give you control over my finances?" "For your protection," the lawyer said smoothly. "Mrs. Morrison is concerned that you may be vulnerable to scams or poor financial decisions. She wants to ensure you're taken care of in your remaining years." "My remaining years?" I smiled. It wasn't a kind smile. "And the camera would be returned to its rightful owner," Jennifer said. "Me. So you could sell it. So we could donate it properly." Kyle snapped. "Jesus. Bill. We were trying to help sick children. And you—" "Stop." I stood up. "Martin, bring it in." Martin disappeared into the kitchen. He came back with a folder. "Before we discuss conservatorship," I said, "I'd like you to see what you almost sold." I opened the folder. Inside was the Ansel Adams print, now professionally photographed and authenticated. Martin had worked fast. "This," I said, "was hidden inside the camera. It's an original Ansel Adams print from 1974, authenticated this morning by a gallery in Scottsdale. Current estimated value, $850,000. Jennifer's face went white. "There's more," I continued. 3 rolls of original negatives from your mother's Arizona collection. The one that was a finalist in the National Photography Competition in 1988. We developed 1 roll last night. Martin? Martin opened his laptop and turned it toward them. On the screen were 6 images: desert landscapes, slot canyons with light streaming through ancient rock, storm clouds over saguaro forests. They were breathtaking. These are worth preserving, Martin said quietly. With proper printing and gallery representation, Sarah's complete collection could sell for $200,000 to $300,000. Perhaps more. She was incredibly talented. Jennifer was staring at the screen. Mom took these? Your mother, I said, spent 40 years documenting Arizona. She was an artist, Jennifer, not a hobby photographer, an artist. And she left all of this for Sophia. Not for you to sell at a charity auction. Not for Kyle's failed business. For your daughter, her granddaughter. The child who inherited her eye and her passion. Kyle was doing math in his head. I could see it. Over $1 million. More than enough to save them. This changes things, the lawyer said carefully. If the camera contains valuable, the camera, I interrupted, and everything inside it was a gift to Sophia Henderson. I have the birthday card to prove it. I'm named on the card as the custodian until she turns 18, which means, legally, you have no claim to it. That was a bluff. I wasn't sure about the legal standing, but the lawyer hesitated, which meant he wasn't sure either. However, I continued, I'm willing to make a deal. Kyle leaned forward. What kind of deal? Full transparency. You tell me the exact amount of your debt. You show me all your financial records. And you agree to credit counseling and bankruptcy proceedings if necessary. In exchange, I'll sell the Ansel Adams print and use the money to save your house and provide for Sophia's education. And the negatives? Jennifer asked quietly. Stay with Sophia, along with the camera. Forever. Non-negotiable. Dad! That's not fair. That money could save us. No, I said. That money will be used according to Sarah's wishes, to protect Sophia and support her artistic education. What I'm offering you is a chance to save your home and learn to live within your means. Kyle stood up abruptly. This is bullshit. We're her parents. We should decide. You tried to sell your daughter's inheritance, I said quietly. You filed false conservatorship papers to steal from me. You exploited a charity event for your own financial gain. Sit down, Kyle. Something in my voice made him sit. If you refuse this deal, I continued, I will contact the hospital foundation and inform them that the item you attempted to donate was not yours to give. I will also petition for grandparents' rights and seek partial custody of Sophia on grounds of financial exploitation of a minor. The lawyer cleared his throat. Mr. Henderson, that's a serious... I have evidence. Martin stepped forward. Sophia's artwork, paintings and photographs she created over the past 2 years. Jennifer has been selling them on Etsy without Sophia's knowledge. 47 pieces, over $3,000 in sales, none of which went to Sophia or was declared on your taxes. Jennifer's face crumbled. How did you? Sophia told me, I said. Last week, when she called me crying because you'd taken the camera, she mentioned that you'd sold her painting of the sunset, the one that won the school art competition. She asked if that was normal, if parents were supposed to take money from their children. Jennifer started to cry. Real tears this time, not the manufactured ones from the gala. I didn't want to, she whispered. We were so desperate. Kyle said it wasn't really stealing because we feed her and house her and... It's stealing, I said flatly. And it stops now. Kyle was staring at his hands. We're going to lose everything. No, I said. You're going to accept help. You're going to downsize. You're going to learn that things matter less than people. And you're going to let Sophia be who she's meant to be. The lawyer was packing his briefcase. I can't be part of this. Filing false conservatorship papers is fraud. I'm withdrawing from this case. After he left, we sat in silence. Finally, Jennifer looked up. Can I see them? Mom's photographs? Martin showed her the rest. All 18 images we'd developed from the first roll. Jennifer cried through all of them. I didn't know, she kept saying. I didn't know she was this good. You never asked, I said gently. You decided it was worthless before you looked. Like I decided Sophia's art was worthless, she whispered. Yes, I'm a terrible mother. No, I said. You're a scared mother who made bad choices. But you can make better ones. Starting now. We spent the next 3 hours going through Kyle and Jennifer's finances. It was worse than I thought. Credit cards maxed out. Loans from friends. A second mortgage. Kyle had been gambling, trying to win enough to fix everything. I'll sell the Ansel Adams next week, I said. That should cover your house and the most urgent debts. But you two are going to bankruptcy court and credit counseling. And Jennifer? You're going to therapy. I can't afford therapy, she said quietly. I'll pay for it. But only if you actually go. She nodded. And Sophia? Jennifer took a shaky breath. She can keep the camera. And her art money. All of it. I'll set up an account in her name. Supervised by me, I added. Supervised by you, she agreed. Kyle looked broken. I'm sorry, Bill. I thought I could fix this. I thought if I just... Stop trying to fix things with money you don't have, I said. Start trying to fix things with honesty and hard work. He nodded slowly. After they left, Martin helped me clean up. You're a good grandfather, he said. I'm a tired grandfather, I corrected. But Sarah would have done worse if she'd been here. She was smart, Martin said, looking at the camera. Hiding the Adams print like that. She knew Jennifer might try to take it someday. She knew her daughter, I said sadly. Better than I wanted to admit. What will you tell Sophia? The truth. That her grandmother loved her. That art matters. That some things are priceless. I picked up the phone and called my granddaughter. Grandpa? Sophia's voice was small. Did you get Grandma's camera back? I did, sweetheart. And I found what Grandma left inside it for you. What was it? A treasure, I said, and a promise. She wanted you to know that your art has value, real value, and that no one should ever tell you otherwise. Not even Mom? Not even Mom. But your mother and I had a talk. Things are going to change, Sophia. Better changes. Can I come see the camera this weekend? You can come see it right now if you want. I'll come pick you up. Really? Really. 20 minutes later, Sophia was sitting at my kitchen table, the Leica in her hands, looking through the viewfinder at the world outside my window. It feels like Grandma, she whispered. Like she's helping me see. She is, I said. She always will be. I showed her the Ansel Adams print, explained what it meant, what it was worth, how it would help her family. But the camera, I said, and the rest of Grandma's negatives, and all the art you create from now on, that's yours. Forever. No one can take it from you. Sophia looked up at me, her eyes, Sarah's eyes, bright with tears. Thank you, Grandpa. Thank you for being exactly who your grandmother hoped you'd be. She spent the rest of the afternoon taking photographs. My hands, the light through the kitchen window, the old photograph of Sarah and me on our wedding day. Each click of the shutter sounded like a promise kept. That night, alone in my house, I pulled out the last thing Sarah had left me. A letter, sealed, with instructions to open it only after I'd given Sophia the camera. My dearest Bill, it read. If you're reading this, it means you protected our granddaughter from the parts of Jennifer that scare me most. The parts that value things over people. Thank you for being stronger than I ever was. Thank you for teaching Sophia what I should have taught our daughter, that love isn't measured in dollars, and art isn't measured in sales. The Ansel Adams was my teacher's gift to me, 40 years ago, when I was a struggling student. He told me to save it for when I really needed it. I'm giving it to Sophia through you, because she'll need it someday. But more importantly, she needs to know her work matters. That she matters. Not because of money, because of vision. Tell her I loved her. Tell her I saw the artist in her before anyone else did. Tell her to keep looking through that lens, and she'll always find the light. All my love. Sarah. I folded the letter carefully and put it in the camera case, next to the remaining 2 undeveloped rolls of film. Someday, when Sophia was older, I'd give her this too. But for now, she had what she needed most. A camera, a legacy, and a grandfather who would fight like hell to protect both.